What's the biggest challenges that HR leaders face in regards to workplace mental health these days?
I would say one of the biggest ones is leader burnout.
Leader burnout.
Leader burnout. Yep. So how am I, as an HR professional, supporting the leaders? Last year, the research on leader burnout around that October, November time
Yep.
was suggesting that around 70% of leaders were experiencing significant burnout after the last few marathons that we've been on
Mm,
over the last 4 or so years. We've never kind of had that ability to have a bit of a reset. We've gone from marathon to marathon every
yeah.
year. And so leader burnout is a massive issue, particularly at that end of last year, around how do leaders have sustainable well-being when they're managing a business, managing
Where do you
life
think?
outside of work and teams,
Where do you
BAU.
think that stems from? Is it because I can certainly understand the obvious one because, as I mentioned before, let's say pressure starts from the top, from the board, comes to the CEO. The CEO talks to the executive team, puts the pressure on them, and they might feel that fear and anxiety about the performance and the
Yep.
numbers, the growth. I can see that happening.
Yep.
But do you think this is everything? This is where it comes from, or is it perhaps sometimes they're not equipped? They're not themselves uh, equipped with the knowledge of how to manage people. So, for example,
Correct. Yes.
for example, one of the things that I'm doing this year, as I said, is I'm learning to delegate. Maybe they themselves need similar skills. They need to delegate in many ways,
Yeah.
and they need that whole trust based and all that to make their life easy. So
Yeah.
they don't have to do as many hours.
Yeah.
So, part of the reason I had to learn how to delegate, and it's imperative, you cannot grow if you don't do that,
Yes.
is because, again, there's only so many hours in a day. There's so much I can do. I need to build people that are even better than me and leaders in their own right. And so I can create 100 me. Well, it's the same for them in that individual manager in the sense they need those skills. So is it really just because we're putting the pressure on them, or is it because they're not equipped how to diffuse that
Mm.
pressure by having a delegation,
Mm.
the happy team, the
Yeah.
etc. So they don't have to
Yeah.
do as many hours and still get the job done.
Yeah, I think it is a combination of both. I certainly think doing business in the VUCA world now is probably more challenging. Every business I speak to at the moment is upsizing, downsizing, going through change, going through some sort of period of transition or uncertainty. So I do think it's a combination of our the VUCA world makes it more challenging for leaders. Leaders are required to do so many more things in the VUCA world. There's so much more. There's cognitive overload. There's a lot of emotional load. Now I've got my team that I've got to, manage and do all these
Yeah,
things. And yes, maybe I've
yeah,
been promoted on technical competence. So I think it's
yeah,
leaders
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
stretched. I would say leaders are very stretched, and now I'm responsible for people's mental health and well-being as well, that they feel they're not necessarily
yeah,
responsible wholly for, but they certainly do have a much more positive duty. So I feel like leaders roles now are very much stretched across people
yeah.
functions and task functions and board performance and all of those sorts of things as
Yeah.
well. So the VUCA world has made it more challenging for leaders. Sure.
Speaking with employees yourself, you must have spoken with thousands of employees in your career. For those who have mental health issues such as anxiety, if we take this example of an anxiety, someone with a decent level of anxiety, do you feel when it comes to work, there's even an additional challenge here because they need that job to
Yes.
support their life and to support even
Yes.
the bills for their medications, perhaps, although
Correct.
I hate that word, I hate medications, I feel should always be an alternative to actually taking physical medications. But nevertheless, let's call it the treatment,
Yeah.
seeing your team, people
Yeah.
yourself, professionals. Um, so that has got a cost to it. So
Yes.
you need the job to support your lifestyle and
Correct.
the treatment,
Yes.
but you need the treatment to even keep the job. Meaning, if
Yes.
you're not really good, you're not going to be able to get the job.
Yes.
How do you say to someone who may be having anxiety about having they are in that vicious cycle, how they can break it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what we do certainly when we're looking at assisting people or recovery from a mental health issue like anxiety is, again, it comes back to those can we, I mean, if we're involved, we will try to look at those elements of good work, because if I've got those elements of good work in my job, I'm going to get better faster. If I've got good psychological safety in my team, I'm going to get better faster. If I've got a supportive leader, I'm going to get better faster.
Yeah.
So suddenly, and that could be, I'm having a little bit of flexibility. I'm allowed to finish work at 4:30 on a Thursday so I can go and see my treating psychologist. Or maybe I'll do a little appointment, a telehealth appointment, when I'm working from home on a Monday. So sometimes allowing, as a leader, if I know about it, if I know you've got anxiety, how can I support you within that treatment and give you that flexibility? What do you need from me to be able to do that? But if I don't know, because the psychological safety isn't
Whoa.
there, then here I am busy delegating and
Guess what?
doing
You read my
everything.
mind. That's the next question.